Listen very carefully, because what I'm about to reveal will determine whether you protect your wealth or watch it evaporate over the next 5 years. After 2 decades leading J.P. Morgan Chase and managing over $4 trillion in assets, I've seen economic cycles come and go, but what's happening right now isn't a cycle, it's an extinction event, and 4 entire sectors of the economy are about to be wiped out completely, not declining, not struggling, completely eliminated. We're talking about $3 trillion in market value that's going to vanish. That's more than the GDP of most countries, and it's happening faster than anyone expects. At J.P. Morgan, we've already started moving. We've been quietly selling off our positions in these sectors for years. We've been warning our institutional clients. We've restructured our lending portfolios to minimize exposure to companies we know won't survive the next decade. Why? Because the data doesn't lie. When you process transactions for 100 million customers worldwide, you see the future before it arrives. And the future has no room for these 4 sectors. Newspaper circulation has collapsed by over 50% in the last decade, and it's accelerating. Print advertising revenue down 70% since 2000 and falling at double-digit rates every single year. But here's what Wall Street isn't telling you. It's not the decline that's the problem. It's the cost structure. Print media requires massive fixed costs. Printing facilities, distribution networks, delivery fleets, warehouse management. These costs were manageable when circulation was high. Now, they're a death sentence. We've analyzed every major print media company's financials. The pattern is identical: collapsing revenues, unmovable fixed costs, mounting debt, and cash flow that can't sustain operations. Most of these companies are technically insolvent right now. They're surviving on borrowed time and restructured debt. The acceleration factor: artificial intelligence. AI can now generate news articles, summaries, and personalized content faster and cheaper than human writers. Why would advertisers pay premium rates to reach shrinking print audiences when digital platforms offer better targeting at lower costs? At J.P. Morgan, we've stopped financing traditional print media. Period. We're helping existing clients transition to digital-only models or facilitating acquisitions to salvage whatever brand value remains. But let me be clear, the traditional print business model is dead. You think you understand the death of retail because of Amazon. You don't. What's coming is far more complete than anyone realizes. We process payments for both online and physical retailers. The data is devastating. Online sales are growing 15-20% annually, while physical store sales are declining 5 to 10% annually. This isn't temporary, this is permanent behavioral change. But here's the mathematical nightmare. Physical retail's cost structure is designed for high traffic and high sales per square foot. Real estate leases, inventory, staff, utilities, insurance, maintenance. These costs don't decline when foot traffic drops. Sales per square foot have fallen 30-50% in the last 5 years across major department stores. Most retailers now pay more in rent and fixed costs than they generate in gross profit. The business model is mathematically impossible. Shopping malls are the walking dead. They depend on anchor tenants like department stores to drive traffic. When those anchors fail, the specialty stores lose customers and collapse too. Mall owners are left with massive properties that cost more to maintain than they generate in revenue. The acceleration: e-commerce logistics have matured. Same-day delivery is becoming standard. Buy online, pick up in store has eliminated physical retail's last advantage. Amazon, Walmart, and Target have built distribution networks that deliver most products within 24-48 hours at prices equal to or better than physical stores. At J.P. Morgan, we're reducing commercial real estate exposure to retail properties aggressively. We're telling clients to avoid retail REITs entirely. Traditional physical retail isn't viable for most product categories anymore. This is controversial, but the numbers don't care about politics. Coal as an energy source is becoming obsolete, and it's driven by pure economics, not environmental activism. Wind and solar are now cheaper than coal for electricity generation in most markets, and that cost gap widens every year. Solar panel costs have dropped 80% in the past decade. Wind turbine costs are down 40%. Meanwhile, coal faces rising costs from environmental compliance, transportation, and maintaining aging infrastructure. We finance energy projects across all technologies at JP Morgan. We see the actual economics in real time. Renewable projects are winning competitive bids against coal, not because of subsidies, but because they generate electricity at lower cost per kilowatt hour. The acceleration factor, corporate energy purchasing, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, they're all committing to 100% renewable energy, not for politics, for cost certainty and price stability that fossil fuels can't match. When your largest customers demand renewables, coal plants become stranded assets. Utility companies are retiring coal plants faster than scheduled because it's cheaper to build new renewable capacity than maintain existing coal infrastructure. We see retirement announcements every month, and the pace is accelerating. At JP Morgan, we've reduced coal financing dramatically. We're helping clients transition to renewable energy development or exit the industry entirely. Coal has no long-term economic viability. Cord cutting is accelerating, but that's not even the real problem. The real problem is that younger consumers aren't just abandoning cable, they're abandoning television entirely. Traditional TV viewership is declining 10–15% annually overall, but over 20% annually among viewers under 35. More critically, the time people spend watching traditional TV is declining even faster, which destroys advertising value regardless of audience size. Cable subscriptions are dropping 5–8% annually and accelerating. But here's what makes this terminal. The subscribers leaving are the younger, higher income demographics that advertisers value most. Television advertising revenue is collapsing with a multiplier effect. Advertisers aren't just shifting budgets proportionally to digital, they're spending less overall because digital advertising provides better targeting, measurement, and ROI than TV advertising ever could. The acceleration factor, streaming technology has matured and proven superior. Netflix, Disney Plus, and Amazon Prime offer on-demand, personalized content that beats linear programming. But the real killer is social media platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, capturing younger consumers with interactive, personalized, socially engaging content that television can't match. Linear television requires enormous fixed costs for content creation, broadcasting infrastructure, and ad sales operations. Those costs worked with captive audiences and limited competition. They're impossible to sustain when audiences fragment across hundreds of digital platforms. The bottom line? Get out, now. These four sectors share a common death pattern: technological disruption plus permanent consumer behavior changes plus economic obsolescence. New technologies provide superior value at lower costs, creating a death spiral for traditional models. The timeline is shorter than you think. These aren't gradual decade-long declines, they're rapid eliminations by fundamentally superior alternatives. At JP Morgan Chase, we've already positioned for this transformation. We're reducing exposure to obsolete sectors and increasing exposure to their replacements. Not for political reasons, for economic survival. If you're holding investments in these four sectors, understand this: you're not facing cyclical headwinds, you're holding assets in sectors becoming completely obsolete. Their value is approaching zero over the next 5–10 years. The smart money figured this out years ago and has been exiting quietly. The question is whether you'll recognize what's happening and protect your wealth, or hold on until the obsolescence is obvious to everyone and the value is already destroyed. The clock is ticking, the transformation is happening now, and it's accelerating faster than most investors realize. The choice is yours, but you've been warned.